Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at a group that calls themselves the Atlantean Brotherhood.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and for this one, we're going to be looking at a Q&A with the group's founder, a guy who calls himself Grandmaster WaXhira.
Okay.
So, like we always do, we try to go beyond the surface here
Right.
and really get a sense of what this group's all about.
Hmm.
And I got to say, looking through this material, it's definitely unique.
In what way?
Well, I mean, they talk about everything from gender equality and spirituality to the importance of ancient wisdom to their, commitment to environmentalism.
Huh. Okay.
And they even, have these elaborate rituals they practice. So, it's kind of this fascinating blend of old and new.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Let's dive in.
All right, so let's start with something that really jumped out at me, which was their perspective on gender.
Okay.
It's honestly pretty different from what you usually hear in, like, spiritual circles.
Really? How so?
Well, they completely reject traditional gender roles. Like all those ideas about what men and women are supposed to be.
Right.
They say that stuff is totally irrelevant to, like, the real journey of the soul.
Okay, I can see that.
Instead, they focus on what they call the inherent divinity of every individual.
Interesting.
Like they say, everyone carries a spark of the divine, regardless of, their physical body or their gender.
Hmm.
In fact, they even compare the soul to a radiant sun whose light shines equally on everyone.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful, right?
It is.
Really emphasizes that idea of equality.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when you're describing the group earlier, you mentioned that they draw on ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
So where do they get all of their, teachings and practices from?
That's actually one of the things I found most interesting about them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to be tied to any one specific tradition.
Interesting.
It's more like they've taken bits and pieces from various sources and kind of woven them together to create their own unique approach.
Oh.
Yeah, like they mentioned ancient Egyptian mysteries, Eastern philosophies,
Mm-hmm.
even some indigenous traditions.
So they're really pulling from all over the place.
Exactly. And what they seem to emphasize most is personal experience and inner transformation.
Got it.
So it's less about dogma and more about, each individual finding their own path.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, you also mentioned that they have these rituals they practice. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, so rituals seem to be a pretty big part of their spiritual practice.
Okay.
And I'll admit, when I first read about them, I was a little, I don't know, maybe intimidated is the right word.
Yeah,
Like
what?
rituals can sometimes seem kind of mysterious or even, a little spooky if you're not familiar with them.
For sure.
But when Grandmaster WaXhira was asked about it, he explained it in a way that actually made a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He described rituals as keys that unlock deeper states of awareness.
Interesting.
Like they're not just these empty actions.
Right.
They're actually tools that can help us connect to something bigger than ourselves.
I see.
And one of the rituals he specifically talked about was this one involving the four elements:
Okay.
earth, air, fire, and water.
Yeah.
And he said that by working with these elements in a ritualistic way, they can attune themselves to the interconnectedness of all things.
Huh. So it's like taking these abstract concepts and making them more tangible?
Exactly. It's about bringing those spiritual principles into our daily lives and experiencing them on a deeper level.
Right, right. Now, switching gears a little bit, something else that really stood out to me in this material was their emphasis on service and charity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was another thing that really impressed me about them. It's
Uh,
not just about, like, personal enlightenment or whatever.
yeah.
They really seem to be committed to putting those principles of love and compassion and altruism into action.
It's one thing to talk the talk, but it's another to actually walk the walk.
Exactly. And they don't see charity as like some kind of optional add-on,
Yeah.
It's like a fundamental part of their spiritual practice.
Mm.
They believe that helping others is actually a way to nurture our own spiritual growth.
Interesting.
And at the same time, it contributes to the well-being of the collective.
So it's like this win-win situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Now, obviously, no community is perfect.
Oh, of course.
And even in a group that's, founded on spiritual principles,
Mm-hmm.
there are bound to be disagreements and conflicts.
That's just human nature.
So I was curious, how do they deal with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, good question.
And actually, Grandmaster WaXhira shared a really interesting story about a conflict that came up within their community.
Oh, what happened?
Well, it was about the interpretation of an ancient text.
Okay.
And apparently there were some pretty strong differing opinions about it.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of like, trying to sweep it under the rug or avoid the issue,
Right.
they actually held a council where everyone involved could come together and
Mm.
share their perspective openly and honestly.
Mm.
But the key was that they did it with empathy and respect.
Okay.
Like they really tried to listen to each other
Yeah.
and understand where the other person was coming from.
So they used the disagreement as an opportunity for growth.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't see it as like a sign of weakness or anything. It
Yeah.
was more like, a chance to learn and evolve together.
Makes sense.
And in the end, they were actually able to find a resolution that honored everyone's views.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful example of how they approach conflict resolution.
It is. It sounds like their whole approach is about finding common ground and building understanding.
Absolutely. And it really ties into their overall vision for humanity's future.
How so?
Well, they believe that as individuals cultivate inner peace and understanding,
Uh-huh.
it creates a ripple effect that spreads outward and contributes to greater harmony in the world.
So it's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly. But here's the thing, right? We live in a pretty complex and crazy world.
Yeah, no kidding.
So how do you actually take these ancient teachings and apply them to the challenges we face today?
That's a great question.
Like, how do you bridge that gap
Yeah.
between, ancient wisdom and modern life?
Yeah.
Well, that's where I think the Atlantean Brotherhood really shines,
Okay. Why?
because they're incredibly adaptable.
Huh.
They don't treat those ancient principles and practices like, some kind of museum artifact.
Right.
They're constantly finding creative ways to apply them in the here and now.
I see.
Like, for example, they use modern technology
Okay.
to connect with members worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
They offer online courses on mindfulness and meditation.
Interesting.
They're really taking the essence of that ancient wisdom and making it relevant to the challenges we face in the 21st century.
So it's like they're saying, look, these principles have stood the test of time for a reason. Let's find ways to make them work for us now.
Exactly. And that kind of brings us to another important aspect of their philosophy, which is their commitment to environmentalism.
Oh, right. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, and it's not just like a trendy buzzword for them.
Uh-huh.
It's a deeply held belief that's woven into the fabric of their spiritual practice.
I see.
They see caring for the planet as an extension of caring for ourselves and each other.
Okay.
And they really walk the walk when it comes to sustainability.
Like how so?
Well, they advocate for mindful consumption, sustainable living practices, preserving the natural world for future generations.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not just talking about, abstract spiritual concepts.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually taking concrete steps to make a positive impact on the world around them.
That's awesome.
It is. But, it's all well and good to have these principles and beliefs.
Right.
But what kind of practical opportunities do they offer for people who want to actually explore this path?
Yeah. How do you get involved?
Well, it turns out they have a pretty wide range of resources available.
Oh, like what?
Well, they have guided meditations, online forums, local study groups. They even do weekend retreats.
Wow.
And for those who are really committed, they have eco-villages where members can live in community
Yeah.
and practice sustainable living firsthand.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
It is.
They really seem to be dedicated to creating a supportive network where people can connect and learn and grow together.
That's great.
So, to sum it all up, we've got an organization that embraces gender equality,
Mm-hmm.
promotes personal growth through service,
Yeah.
offers this unique blend of ancient wisdom and modern applications,
Right.
and they're deeply committed to environmental stewardship.
Wow. That's quite a package.
It really is. And it makes you think, what ancient wisdom resonates most strongly with your own life?
Mhm.
And how could you apply it to the challenges you face in the modern world?
Those are good questions.
Yeah. And remember, every deep dive is a personal journey. There's always more to explore, more to learn, and more ways to connect with the world around us.
Well said.
So, until next time.
See ya.